G'day viewers, end of another week, getting back into doing Totally Fucked Up Friday on a regular basis with Aidsy.
Hey Jan, g'day, hi, I'm back. I was sick as a dog before, but I'm back now.
Yep, we're back into it, and the world certainly hasn't let up. I might have sort of lost focus in the last month or so. The world hasn't stopped being fucked up.
No, it's really not stopped at all.
For some people, much, much worse. In fact, the two probably worst things happening in the world. Yeah, it's hard to pick, you know, the ongoing conflict in Syria. You could actually... Every time I think this may be the worst thing that's happening, then suddenly go, no, there's shit happening everywhere. But some that you may not have heard about or may not know a lot of detail about, and I'll provide links for a bit of detail. Let's start in the Ukraine. Former Soviet Republic, shares a border with Russia and with other European countries.
Poland.
Yes, who a lot of people want to ally themselves with. See, what's happening, about 3 months ago, the Ukrainian president, Viktor Yanukovych, I'll probably pronounced that wrong, just assume he's a Bond villain, okay? Because he sounds like one.
And he's got the right shape, too.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, an apple sitting on an apple, sitting on another apple.
Yeah. And he's behaving like one. Like, since 3 months ago where he said, you know what, I think I want to move away from the EU and all this support they're offering. I want to go with Russia. Yeah, I think Russia should be our daddy.
Didn't we all vote and say we should go with the EU? Though?
You see, yeah, a significant chunk of the country who actually speak Ukrainian, they all voted for the party who's in opposition now. And all the areas which neighbour Russia, they voted for Yanukovych. And, surprise, they've got a loyalty to Russia. Now, since what a lot of people regard as somewhat of a betrayal of what was the way things were going, as in we are now separate from Russia.
We're our own country and everything. And, and we can join the EU and everything, and we've got an economy and stuff.
So a lot of people are saying, this is bullshit. We want new elections. If that's what you want to do, because you didn't go to the last election with this platform, we want new elections. And he said, oh, I'm president, I can do whatever I want. And protests started with more radical elements, as these often do. But Yanukovych has come down really hard, using police and killing protesters, and this has moved more and more to the mainstream. The president has actually been losing supporters from his own party in the parliament, saying, because everyone's worried he's going to declare a state of emergency, which lets him invoke, oh, let's bring the military in on these people. And his own party have been going, no, fuck that.
Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that.
And they've been saying, you can't, you need the parliament to vote on that. And all his party supporters are leaving him in the parliament, saying he can't possibly get that passed in the parliament. Even the mayor of Kiev has resigned the party, saying, while ordinary people are being killed in the streets, and it's dozens, if not hundreds of people have been killed just in the last week, he's resigned because he won't stand by while ordinary citizens are being killed. This has the potential to be much, much worse, as in civil war.
The protesters have even taken cops hostage and now holding them inside Liberation Square in order to not get shot at so much. It's FUBAR.
Yeah,
totally.
And it could get worse if the president gets his state of emergency and brings the military in. The military might refuse. The military might say, we're not here to shoot our own citizens, but it could devolve into full-scale civil war.
Half the military says, no, we're not going to shoot our own citizens. Half the military says we are. So then you get the military who's not shooting the military who will. Then you've got fully open civil war.
Yeah, and of course you've got all of the Europeans, the West, the US, and the rest of the world saying, stop this bullshit. Russia doesn't appear to be doing much. A lot of people are worried once the Winter Olympics are over and the spotlight's not so much on them, what Russia might do. But in terms of totally fucked up, it's hard to get worse. Oh, and as an illustration, someone's done a little Photoshop showing you before and after the Independence Square in the middle of Kiev where the protests are focused. And it's pretty stark and it's pretty terrifying. And I really hope for the people of Ukraine this does get settled and the president does agree to earlier elections, because full-scale civil war in that part of the world is not going to be good for anyone. And that's not the only part of the world that's experiencing this type of thing. Yay, in case you hadn't heard, Venezuela is having very similar issues. Now, since crazy dictator Hugo Chavez died last year. Apparently it's just gone to shit. Who knew that a crazy dictator could actually hold things together? No, sorry, democratically elected leader. Sorry,
right.
sorry,
Like,
depending who you ask.
Like Genghis Khan.
Yeah, everyone loved him, you know.
Everyone loved him.
Apart from the ones at the pointy end of the sword.
Oh, they didn't get much chance to not like
No,
him.
they never said no, you know.
Not
But anyway.
twice.
But since Chavez died, apparently inflation spiraled out of control, crime spiraled out of control, and just everyday necessities are getting harder and harder to get. See, when you're on the world's largest confirmed oil deposit, which is the situation Venezuela is in, you can buy a lot of agreement from the populace. But apparently the wheels have kind of fallen off. The new president, Nicolas Maduro, doesn't seem to be holding things together. A lot of people want him out. You see, that's complicated because that part of the world, South America, has a bad recent history with outside forces, i.e. the US, doing regime change. And a lot of people are understandably squirrely about the US saying, no, you should go and someone else should go in because they've had some very bad experiences.
There's been
with
precedent.
Yeah. So the neighbouring South American countries are basically saying, no, US, keep the fuck out. But again, innocent citizens, it's gone from, again, some more radical elements to more mainstream elements getting involved. People have their own barrow to push. Of course, the opposition parties, honestly, I'm not calling them lily white by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
When millions of dollars are at billions, I should say, billions upon billions are at stake, I don't trust political parties of any persuasion to stay out of the corruption. But certainly these protests in Venezuela are involving ordinary people, people who are sick of the crime, people who are sick of the corruption, people who want to be able to live their lives and get everyday basic necessities, and they want to be not shot when they speak up and do this. So
it's a bit like what's happening in Queensland.
Yeah. What we can look forward to, potentially. It's just, when the person in charge responds by shooting people, censoring the media, rounding up journalists and beating the shit out of them and saying, don't you dare say anything about this protest. That's not a good look. That's not a good look. That's
not spelling good things.
So I'm not imagining anyone in Venezuela really has much time for YouTubing at the moment, but I hope that the worst is behind it, because if it gets much worse, it's going to get much, much worse.
Yeah.
And it's just disturbing that you can pick these from around the world. There's not one country where it's all going to hell on the verge of civil war. It's happening all over the place, which is really depressing. So let's talk about somewhere we'd rather live than Ukraine or Venezuela.
Manus Island.
Yeah, that would be one for another day here. That's a local one. Yeah, when China is telling Australia, hey, you and your human rights abuses, that's ouch.
And when we have to look at our shoes and go, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. We might talk about that one another day. But I found, where I'm going to live? South Carolina.
Hell yes!
You know why?
I know why.
No crime.
At all.
None. You know how I know this?
Oh, I do know.
Yeah, we saw this story. A woman, 27-year-old woman, Kayla Finley, has been arrested by cops for not returning a video cassette to a video rental store. No, and I don't mean DVD.
No.
I mean a VHS tape. That's how long ago this happened. This is almost 10 years ago. She held... didn't return, according to the store, a video called Monster-in-Law.
Oh, well, what a classic.
It's got Jane Fonda, Jennifer Lopez. What's not to love?
What's not to love there? It's something celluloid gold.
Yes.
And it's going to cost that much.
Apparently, they issued a bench warrant for her 9 years ago for not returning the tape. And it's got lost. And because the cops say, hey, warrants never expire, they have actually just arrested her on behalf of the video store that no longer exists.
It's gone. It's turned into a Walmart or something,
So the cops have said, no, this is completely legit because warrants don't expire. So apparently there isn't even jaywalking in South Carolina, because jaywalking's a more serious offence than this. So if the cops can use resources to arrest someone for a video from almost 10 years ago...
How's it going to be in the trial? I would like to play you Exhibit 3 on On what?
Yeah.
No one's got one anymore. They all went out in hard rubbish.
Can someone go and get us a VHS player? Oh, and with the old analog cables and an old analog TV to connect it. This could drag on for a while, is what we're saying.
Can you imagine being in remand for the next 10 years while you wait for the technologists to put together this hybrid machine so that they can play the tape and they get on? And it's not Monster-in-Law. No, it's in fact on Golden Pond, which you should be arrested for.
Wow, it's just...
conspiracy. Well, it scares me, though, because I did a bad thing today.
What did you do?
I stole from my community.
Oh, yeah.
I was a fare evader. I was a squiggle person.
Yeah, if you live in Melbourne, you'll know how serious they take it. In fact, it appears the most dangerous fare evaders in the world are 16-year-old girls, because the people charged with enforcement seem to enjoy physically assaulting teenage girls. It's, dodgy as fuck. And
me, they leave alone. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Maybe because I look like I'm stoned and I've got a big metal stick. But a 60-year-old girl next to me who has a real ticket, they hassle her. And it's like, no, don't do that. Look at me. I'm the guy who's stealing from my neighbour. So in 10 years, the cops are going to come and go, Aussie, what? You think you're happy? You've got a couple of kids and an actual job? Yeah, I'm good. I've even got a car on hire purchase. Well, you're going to jail, matey, because you stole a fare from a tram. Is the tram still around? No, they junked it along with your freedom. But anyway, you're going to jail where you're going to get sodomised up the poop chute in remand, and then in real person's jail where you'll be in with the rapists and the killers, which is your kind. Your kind, Daisy. You're gone, buddy. You hide me, because I'm scared.
I'm not saying, right, that I've already dropped a dime on him, as they say, but I'm not saying
I'm not allowed to use the phone on my own. He's got to for me. But, yeah, I'll be under the bed. You won't tell him. You could point, I suppose. You have before. But
speaking of under the bed scandals, another one. This one from Australia, up in Brisbane. The Brisbane Boys College, very prestigious private school, had a bit of a turn a year or two back when it turned out that on their rowing squad's camp, they did the old hazing rituals.
Is that the thing where you be gay without being gay?
Yeah, stuff like you get the new kid down and you say you've got to do the impossible sit-up. You blindfold him and you put like a towel on his forehead and hold him down. Say, you've got to do a push-up while I try and hold you down. And while he's straining with all his might, someone else drops their dax and spreads their butt cheeks right over his face. And then you suddenly release the towel so he slams his face up someone's butt crack.
That's not gay.
It's not gay if you say April Fool straight after.
It's not gay. It's not gay if you, manage to wick a lick in.
So the school got in trouble, not so much because teenage boys were being teenage boys, but because they said teenage boys were being teenage boys. And because they didn't expel or suspend anyone over it. People thought they were too soft on the whole thing.
Yeah, because they're going to expel the rowers, right?
Yeah, like the elite kids from the elite school. But what's happened this week is the rowing coach has been sacked in an outrage because they're about to go on another camp, and he jokingly but seriously was saying to the boys, don't do this shit. And the way he said it is, don't twirl your wanger around at someone.
Don't twirl your wanger.
Yeah, no, and apparently he did he calls it a theatrical movement, where he swayed his hips and twirled his finger around. Don't do that. And he said, I don't care if you think everyone you know's seen a wanger or had a wanger twirled at them. You know, it's not what you think's acceptable. It's not even what I think's acceptable. It's what the principal thinks is acceptable.
Hang on,
and what are you doing?
I'm going to twirl my wanger.
Oh, God.
I'm going to twirl my wanger for you because you deserve it.
How did I not see that coming? Even just mentioning
this is very funny.
Twanger whirling.
How did I not see that coming? If you keep watching.
Yeah. So, yeah, apparently
there you go.
Oh, God. Yeah. Apparently one of the kid's mothers overheard him saying the thing about twirling your wanger, and she's complained saying, that's inappropriate.
It's not as warm as I thought it was.
A little bit of shrinkage can't be avoided.
It's still hitting my knees. I don't mind.
So, yeah. But, and here's the real twist in this story. The overwhelming majority of parents have come out and said This is bullshit. Why the fuck are you hassling this guy? Oh my
I
God.
think I've bruised it.
Oh God. Do you see what I put up with for you? This is what I have to... You're only seeing this from the waist up. My vision extends below the waist, okay?